right now, Derek?
The bullpen cart's here. It's ready. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your driver of the bullpen cart when Michaela isn't available. This guy over here, he's the vice mayor. He's also the Thunderstake, the one and only Jesse Friedman.
I think the people listening to us on audio only need to be aware of what you just did to start the show.
I just drove out a little bullpen cart,
a little bullpen cart replica.
Bullpen cart replica that we got, a little on-track bullpen cart replica, and I just crashed it into Jesse's water cup.
And the sound effects.
Yeah,
the sound effects
were perfect.
Key.
Yeah, it's not the same without the sound effects. But welcome on in. Of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app.
Could you imagine if the bullpen cart was actually that noisy? Like if it had like this 6-cylinder engine,
like it roared.
Yeah.
Oh, give it to me. I rode in it. Sadly, it does not make any of those noises. But,
is it electric? I guess it's probably electric.
It's definitely electric.
They're probably not going to put a gasoline engine on the field, I suppose.
Nick Ahmed is back for those of you that celebrate such things, and it's actually great to see Nick out there. His first start since May 15th, 2022, and it didn't take long for Nick Ahmed to get tested out there in the field. The very first, I believe, pitch of the game.
Pitch to a Royals hitter.
Yeah, to a Royals hitter. Went right back at Nick, and there's a beautiful picture of his extension there. First game of spring, and Nick Ahmed's already stealing hits. Yeah, we're thinking he's back. It was great to see him back. And honestly, he came into the clubhouse with a sleeveless shirt on, showing off the guns. And I think he was already in the mood to kick some ass, and that's what we saw out of him today.
Yeah, he was 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts at the plate, so I'm sure it'll take a little bit of time for Nick to get his timing back and whatnot. Defensively, the biggest question is going to be his arm after the shoulder surgery last year and some wrist issues coming into spring this season. We need to see, does Nick Ahmed still have the elite level arm strength that he's shown in the past? We didn't really get an answer to that question today. By my tally, he only got 1 ground ball the entire game, and it was a pretty routine play. So we didn't really get to see that today, but something to monitor moving forward.
Well, it was another Drey day, and Drey Jameson was on the mound. Did not have quite the success that he's had in the past. Got nicked up quite a bit. He gave up a home run.
He got nicked up.
Nicked up? Yeah, it's the thing. It's the way when you say the line in the movie, that's the title of the movie. But yes, no, Drey Jameson, not a great day. But he did show, I think, a lot of positives. His strikeouts were rolling, and he was pulled out of the game after an inning and a third, I believe, or 2/3. Was it
inning and 2/3?
Yeah, inning and 2/3. But then he came back in the third inning and actually looked really good in the third inning, and he kind of credited it to the fact that he wasn't mixing up his pitches well enough in the first inning and 2/3. He felt like he was really just going out there and attacking the strike zone too much with the fastball and not really giving the batters any other pitches to look at.
It's crazy how quickly things can change, right? With the starting pitching battle that we've been talking about for a while, this competition for the 5th spot. And that's not to say that Drey Jameson went from the front runner to the last man on the list or anything. No. I actually think he pitched okay today. There were a few 99 mile an hour fastballs that actually got hit by the Royals, which is something that I think happens with Drey Jameson. He doesn't have the crazy level of vertical ride that Ryan Nelson has on his four-seamer. The movement on the pitch is not terrible, but it's not incredible either. So once guys kind of figure out the timing of the pitch, I think it's maybe a little bit more hittable than you would expect something coming at you that hard would actually be. But yeah, I think he definitely looked a lot better in that third inning. After the D-backs got him back out on the bench. Carlos Vargas came in, got the last out of the second inning. He came back in the third, and I think it was a 1-2-3 inning on 9 pitches with a couple of strikeouts. So he definitely finished this one on a high note.
The big thing was that he, like I said he wasn't throwing his curveball early on. He also wasn't throwing the changeup. And it has been said that, he does have a good changeup. And Drey said, as you'll see here in this clip, that he really wasn't confident in his changeup. There's times where he's not feeling it and kind of worries that throwing it may be a detriment based on it just being a big old meatball down the middle of the plate if he doesn't have a good control over it.
Yeah, it's a pitch that I definitely need to throw and trust because it's a really good pitch, and my confidence behind that pitch is just not there. and I need to build the confidence on that pitch, because ultimately it's a really good pitch, and I think it's gonna be very crucial for me, deep into games to throw that pitch. But early on in games, I don't want to use it if I don't have to. And after that second inning, I had to use it, and I probably should have went to it a lot earlier than I did. So it's definitely a crucial pitch that I need to buy by and just throw it.
And I definitely get what he's saying about, he went on to explain about throwing it up in the strike zone the same way he's throwing his fastball, basically just makes it hang, and he needs to make sure that he's locating it in order for it to be effective lower down in the strike zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, once he was throwing that, he definitely had more success against batters.
Yeah, I mean, he only threw one changeup the whole game, and I guess it was
and one curveball.
Yeah, I think the changeup might have been in that third inning. But yeah, it sounds like the Diamondbacks coaching staff really likes Drey Jameson's changeup. And the question is more about, does Drey Jameson like his changeup, and does he feel comfortable enough actually using it in games? When I talked to Drey back at the beginning of spring training, he told me that was a point of emphasis for him over the offseason, was trying to get that changeup to a better spot where he can feel more comfortable using it. The key for any changeup is going to be maintaining your arm action. You want it to look like it's a four-seam fastball, as you were talking about earlier.
Correct.
And it's tricky for Drey because he throws that four-seamer to the top of the strike zone a lot of the time. And so I think for him, it's tricky kind of replicating that motion, but kind of driving that pitch down in the strike zone. Maybe it's something that will take a little bit more getting used to. He told us that in a recent bullpen session that he threw 75% changeups. Like, that's kind of a really big thing for him. And it appeared today that he's still just not quite there, hence why he only threw one in his entire outing today.
Well, in other starting pitching rotation news, Brandon Pfaadt was good again as well.
Yeah.
He threw 3 innings over the weekend, gave up 1 hit, no runs, walked 1, struck out 4. And so, again, there obviously is 2 guys that have kind of emerged, I think, as front runners, being Drey Jameson and Brandon Pfaadt.
Did you read an article by chance, Derek? That
I might have
said that
over at GoPHNX.com.
I think it is. I think it is over at GoPHNX.com.
I think Gerald wrote it, so go check that out. It's
Gerald and Craig. It was a wonderful
collaboration from our 2 other writers here. But no, Jesse definitely has some great information on that, and of course, he cursed Drey Jameson with that article.
I kind of figured that would happen. But I maintain that Drey Jameson wasn't terrible today. I mean, he still struck out 5. I thought his stuff looked pretty good. He left a few pitches in some spots that he shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't a terrible outing for Drey Jameson.
More importantly, it's the way he bounced back. He joked about never having been put back into a game before after having been pulled out. But
usually that's not how baseball works.
That's usually not how baseball works. But he very much showed that he has that ability to bounce back, right? Like, that's something I know Torey's talked about in the past, and it's something that he said he's looking at when it comes to these guys as far as being starting pitchers. Can you give up a home run? Can you have a bad inning and then come out and reestablish yourself and get back on track? That's very big for looking at someone to be a part of the starting rotation. They're not just trying to fill a hole. They're hoping that whoever they add as the 5th member of the starting rotation will remain there for the rest of the season. Obviously, injuries and everything else could impact that, but it's something Drey Jameson talked about. He talked about wanting to also stick around and not get sent up, back down, back up again. He wants to stay on the major league roster as something every minor league player, I'm sure, wants to, but a lot of them are a bit more understanding about that they are going to be sent up and down, whereas Jameson sounds like he wants to do everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen, that he just stays around. Meanwhile, when it comes to Brandon Pfaadt, it sounds much more like Brandon Pfaadt, unfortunately, might not really be in the consideration despite how good he's doing.
I don't know.
Are we looking too deep into this?
I think we need the people to judge for themselves on this. We have an audio clip that we'll play here in a second. But basically, Torey Lovullo was asked after Pfaadt's outing, which was, again, very good. 5 scoreless innings so far, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
As good as you could ask.
Pretty darn good from Brandon Pfaadt so far through 2 appearances. And Nick Pecora from AZ Central asked Torey Lovullo, obviously you're not winning a competition, at this stage of spring training, but has Brandon Pfaadt done what he would need to do to kind of put himself in the middle of that conversation, at least at this point. And this is what Torey Lovullo had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible in this game. And I want everybody in that locker room to come to the ballpark, and especially on days that they're working, to try and impress them, to do something spectacular. And I think he's doing exactly what we hoped he would do. And I don't know where it lands with all of our young starting pitchers. I just know we got a lot of good ones, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fun to watch, and we're going to have a tough decision to make. Yeah, I think it's probably a little too early for me to even make comments about who's going to win that spot. But it's nice to see that he went out and executed.
It's just the way that Torey said. I mean, yeah, he kind of backed into the manager speak as he tends to do. But the way that he started this quote, he said, I want guys to believe that anything is possible, or something along those lines, right? And when you put it like that, it kind of makes it sound like it's a far-fetched thing. Like
you're dangling a carrot that can't be reached.
Yeah, if Brandon Pfaadt was really in the center of this conversation, as one would expect him to be with the numbers that he's put up so far, you would expect Torey to be able to come out and say, at least confidently, that yeah, he's in the mix, But his first comment was, I like to believe that anything is possible for these guys. And that kind of sounds like, you're talking about the guy wearing number 94, who's, coming in as a non-roster invite and doesn't really have a shot. That kind of sounds more like you're talking about one of those guys than a guy who has pitched as well as Brandon Pfaadt has so far.
Speaking of those guys, the Diamondbacks did reassign some guys down to minor league camp, including Slade Ciccone. I still think it's.
I think it is Ciccone. Yeah. I think it is.
I know. That's why I've been saying it the whole time. Davison De Los Santos, Bryce Jarvis, Jordan Lawler, Blake Walston. No real surprises there, but obviously I'm sure there's some people that are disappointed that Jordan Lawler is being sent down. That was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, Jordan Lawler could have hit 700, and I think he would have
been sent down. Yeah,
still get sent
because Bryce Jarvis has done about as good as they could have asked of him. I don't think those words were in the right order.
He's done about as good. I mean, I understood what you said.
It was very country, but yeah, no, he has done as good of a job as you could ask of him, and he's still being sent down. So I think again with those guys, there's just certain guys that are not at that point in their progression where they're even being considered for the roster, no matter how good they're doing. And they want to make sure that they don't do anything to slow them down. They need these guys playing games, being in competitive matchups, playing against other live baseball teams, and doing everything they can to get ready should they get moved up in the system and should they get called upon. But one guy that is ready is Ketel Marte, who deked Padres infielder Tim Lopez off the bag on a stolen base attempt. And it was incredible. I'm sure you guys all saw it.
That game was televised. That was a Saturday
and it was a
game.
Viral clip on top of that. Like everybody in Major League Baseball was like, look at what Ketel's doing. And I loved it. It was right out of Little Big League, one of my favorite baseball movies of all time.
Oh, I still haven't seen that.
Oh, that one. We're going to have to give him that one as an assignment. But yeah, it was incredible. And you know what? Brandon Pfaadt was quite thankful about that. Let's hear what he had to say about Ketel making that play.
Is it helpful having Ketel make that crafty play behind you?
For sure. I was like, thank God. At first, I didn't really know what happened. I was like, wait, he's out? So things like that, just a bonus, and got all the runners off base, give me 2 outs. So it was a huge play.
It really was a huge play.
I love that. That's such a wholesome response from Brandon Pfaadt.
Really
oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about it is I need Ketel to keep shit like that for the regular season. We need to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, we asked Carson Kelly. I asked Carson Kelly about it as well after the game. And Carson said, he was impressed. He's never seen Ketel do that before. But he was also wondering, shouldn't we be saving that for the regular season?
This is top secret stuff.
Yeah, why are you giving that away in spring training? Yeah. Torey also said after the game that he's seen Ketel try that 45 times, and this is the first time that it worked. So
it is true. The rest of the time, it just kind of looks like a casual joke, like he's just messing with the runner or whatever. But he wasn't messing with anybody. He was trying to get an out, is what he was trying to do. Madison Bumgarner made his debut over the weekend. That was on Sunday, and it wasn't so horrible. I guess again, I don't know if. I don't know what.
I mean, what's the threshold for horrible?
Know.
Like, what are we talking?
He went
out
there and pitched 3 innings. He gave up 2 hits. He gave up 2 of everything: 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. But unfortunately,
2 hit by pitches.
2 hit by pitches, 0 strikeouts. So not 2 of those. But Mad Bum was dictating the pitch call through the pitch comm, which was interesting to see.
Yeah. Apparently,
he was working together with Gabriel Moreno.
Yeah, it's something that apparently is not officially legal to do in actual games yet. I think the players might still be waiting to see if that's going to be a possibility come the regular season, but it's something a few D-backs pitchers have started experimenting with, where they're the ones initiating the call to the catcher rather than the other way around. The idea is with the pitch clock, you don't have time to shake off 3 signs from your catcher anymore. You got to make sure you nail down what pitch you're throwing earlier in the pitch clock so that you can actually throw the pitch in time. So Mad Bum experimented with that in that game, and it sounds like he kind of traded places with Gabriel Moreno, where he called some of those pitches as well, like you said.
Interesting though, because I don't know. Do we want pitchers calling games? Do we want a half?
It's interesting.
Thing like this?
It's real interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's like that's the way that baseball's been run for forever, right? Yeah. Like the catcher is kind of in charge, and of course the pitcher has some say in what they're throwing as well. There's some communication that happens there, but the catchers call games, right?
And the problem now is you can't shake off a guy like you used to be able to, because you don't have that kind of time, right? I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why pitch.
That's exactly why critical. They're doing this. Yeah. Yes,
but you know what? For Mad Bum, it's might be something positive, because maybe he is somebody that wants to kind of take a bit more of charge there when it comes to that. And honestly, if it leads to him having a better outings, I don't know if you want to call the 3 inning.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But what I want to see from Mad Bum is for the man to get guys to swing and miss a little bit. Yeah. Because that part of his game is really faded since coming over to the D-backs. And it's not to say he needs to strike out 250 guys or something a year in order to be effective, but once you get down to like 6 Ks per 9 or something, I think he was a little bit above that last year. It's pretty tough to be an effective major league starting pitcher. Yeah. And the fact that he didn't strike out anyone makes me think that, he got some soft contact. I think it was mostly ground balls, but you still need to start fooling some guys with your stuff if you want to, be able to last deep in games. And Mad Bum didn't really show that.
Michael in the comments says there's also the aspect of Moreno and Bumgarner being new to each other, which absolutely is the case.
That is true.
Mad Bum does he seems to adapt to catchers pretty quickly, though. And when he finds ones he likes to work with those guys. So hopefully Moreno is that guy, so that no knock to Carson Kelly, but that they have a reason to give Moreno more playing time, because so far we've really liked what we've seen out of the young Gabby Moreno. What we don't like, what we've seen, though, out of another player with the last name M, is Mark Melancon. And that's why this guy's here. Mark Melancon continues to be very, very bad. And it's a bit heartbreaking, because Melancon does take it very hard. So no matter, again, how hard Twitter can be on him, you have nothing. You have nothing compared to how hard the man is on himself. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. Today I saw Strom having a meeting with him before the game, and it didn't seem to have too big of an impact, because he had another really rough outing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were talking about, but yeah, Mark Melancon didn't pitch well today. We were in the clubhouse interviewing Drey Jameson during most of his outings, so we didn't get a chance to actually see it for ourselves. But yeah, it wasn't good. Opposing hitters are 9 for 14 against Mark Melancon in his 2 appearances, with a home run and a double against
in spring training.
Yeah,
they're not even trying that hard. No one's trying that hard.
It's not necessarily that they're not trying. It's that some of these guys that Mark Melancon is facing aren't going to make the Royals opening day roster. And last I checked, the Royals are not exactly a juggernaut of an offense. Although the Royals are a juggernaut of a spring training team. I will tell you that, Derek. Yeah. They're 10-2. 10-2. They're 10-2. Yeah. No shame in getting crushed today for the D-backs.
Yeah, give them the trophy. Give them the Cactus League trophy. Whatever. I don't know. We don't care. The bigger problem, though, obviously, and that's a question we're going to get down to later, is what to do with Mark Melancon. What are the D-backs realistically going to do? Yeah. How far do they go, let's just say hypothetically, and he can't get things back on track? It feels
doesn't look good, Derek.
It feels like he's going to be on the roster regardless, right? And I've talked about this in the past that I don't like the idea of harming the team or having someone on the team that you can't utilize them as a reliable option that you have to pay a bunch of money to. I would much rather that you just do something to part ways with these individuals, pay them the money out, and let somebody else that's currently a part of your organization have that opportunity that can help you win baseball games instead of this. And again, this is about as drastic as we can get because it's 2 outings in spring training. So the reality of the situation, no matter how much people have said this to us on Twitter, Mark Melancon was actually pretty damn good to start off the year last year. I think things went the opposite way with Melancon, right? Wasn't he pretty good out of the gate and actually had a decent spring? Things didn't start looking bad for Melancon until we got like down the road. Actually, pitching.
I don't know if I would say it. Melancon's velo was down last spring, and
That's true.
I don't remember him.
But he got it back up.
Well at the
that was the
beginning
joke
of the
about the 97 miles an hour. He did get it back up to like 92, but then we're seeing it down again this spring. And I think more than anything, he just really looks like he has no clue as to what the answer is, right? I don't know what the answer is either, but unfortunately, it's one of those things that the Diamondbacks don't really have the ability to let him figure it out should he continue to cost them games, especially if he's going to be used in high leverage situations.
Yeah, as much as I want to say it's 2 outings and it's early in spring training, which both of those things are true, the man gave up 9 hits. Like 9 hits in 2 innings is a lot of hits. So it's not to say he can't bounce back, but I mean, like, how can you? Like, if he throws 5 consecutive hitless innings at this point, he's still at 9 hits allowed in 7 innings and a whole bunch of runs. Like, you can't really recover the numbers at this point, but I guess his stuff could look better the rest of the way, and that's certainly what the D-backs are hoping for.
Let's go over all of his at-bats, or not his at-bats, but all of his pitch sequences. Gave up a single, a home run, a strikeout, single, strikeout, single, double, sac fly, ground out.
It's not great. It's not great.
I'm just turning the bullpen around for our audio
bullpen
listeners.
card.
Yeah, just putting it out there. Injury updates really fast. Kyle Lewis came away fine from his season debut on Sunday. Should be back at DH tomorrow. Pavin Smith is still day-to-day with lower back tightness. Seems to be doing fine. And then we'll go over some of the other pitching stuff. But in other Giants news, I guess, other Giants-related news, Jon Miller seems to think the Arizona Diamondbacks are a Bush League organization. Here's the audio clip from an actual spring training game that a professional broadcaster said.
I have to guess, the D-backs decided, the heck with the big leagues. Let's just not be a big league team for the split squad. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and a fastball swung on and missed by Bryce Johnson. It's 1-2. They have sent no public relations people over here, no information about who the manager is or anything at all about him. So if they don't want to be a big league team, we'll just treat them like a sandlot team. So they give us no information about anything. So one of those guys in a red shirt managing, and a right-hander, one of their right-handers on the mound, and there's a ball up and away. 3-2 the count. I mean, there's certain things that go along with being a big league team, like try to act like a big league team. 3-2 the count to Bryce Johnson. Here's Saccone, and the pitch is bounced to second, over to his right, backhanding it, Castillo, and he throws out Johnson at first. See, I even had names. Did a little homework on what little we have, which is nothing whatsoever from the Bush League D-backs. We go to the 3rd inning. The Giants won, Arizona nothing, on the KMBR Northern California Honda Dealers Radio Network.
Oh my God!
He didn't say that on an actual spring training broadcast, did he? Dare the mic was hot, but he didn't know it.
That was a hot mic. No, he was calling the game, Jesse. I'm not sure if you heard that, but he was calling the game. My man, Are you a major league announcer or not? Which one are you? Because I don't care what happens. Like, isn't there a sense of professionalism? Isn't there your ability to overcome adversity when not provided with the information? This is the sheet that he's complaining and bitching about right here. This is like the PR sheet that has all of the information about the players on it, right? But see, here's the other fucking thing. This is a goddamn computer, which we all have and everybody can look up. And also, this little thing is also a fucking computer. And you know what you can find on here? All of the information about the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup and the players that were playing that day. You could also just make an attempt to be a little bit professional. So I don't know who's fucking Bush League here, but I would say it's the guy that decided to air all of his grievances about work that day on a broadcast when his job is to be calling the game and not bitching about not having the notes that he should have. Now, here's the thing. I'm not defending the Diamondbacks, whether they did or give them the notes, right? Like, we know that we walk past a little table in the press box every single day, and it has a neatly laid out pile from both teams that has tons of information, way more than any of us need, and everything that a broadcast team would need in order to put this stuff together. I don't know if this information wasn't walked over to these people or if it just wasn't put out. This might totally be on the Diamondbacks, but I'm also going to say it's on you for being unprofessional, going out there on a fucking spring training game like it's the end of the world that you don't have the information and complaining like that openly about the team's PR staff not bringing you information. Like that's Bush League to me, if you ask me.
Yeah, as Gabriel said in the comments, it would have been a great time for Nick Castellanos' home run.
Oh, man.
While he's going on his little rant there.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. Would have loved it.
Yeah, Jon Miller is for those asking like who this guy is, I guess you might not be familiar with that voice. Jon Miller's been a Giants broadcaster for a number of years. He might have done some stuff with some other teams as well.
He might be beloved as far as we know. I know bashing him isn't going to get me.
He definitely comes across as kind of a curmudgeon-y, sort of guy who's, it wasn't like granted the D-backs, that was a split squad day. This is talking about Saturday. So the D-backs were playing at Salt River Fields. They were also playing at Scottsdale Stadium. Brandon Pfaadt was on the mound at Salt River Fields. That was kind of the game that all the D-backs PR people, it seems, were at, and the game that, certainly I was at covering because that was probably a bigger story. But it wasn't like the D-backs, just started all minor leaguers or anything that day.
Corbin Carroll was on that game.
Corbin Carroll was the D-backs leadoff hitter. Jake McCarthy played. Emmanuel Rivera is a name that, you should be somewhat familiar with. He's played for both the Royals and the D-backs at this point. Jose Herrera was in that game. And the other guys, Seth Beer played in the majors last year, Dominic Canzone, Blaze Alexander, not guys that will necessarily make the opening day roster, but guys that it's not that hard to find information about. So I agree with you, Derek. I mean, regardless of how you think about, the Diamondback side of this, I think we can all agree that coming on the air and saying what Jon Miller said is just unnecessary and inappropriate. No matter,
even if mistakes were made, even if they didn't do their job, right? Like it's how you react. And honestly, more than that, it's the fact that you're putting an entire organization on blast because you didn't get your notes. When, let's be honest, there's plenty of information available to you if you just try to put forth a little effort. There's a scoreboard with every single player's name in the order that they're hitting. It's not like this is, I get it. And again, we don't know the case. We don't know if the information was put out. So we're trying to play devil's advocate here and say, okay, maybe there wasn't a single member of the media staff there, and maybe they didn't put out any documents at all. It still doesn't give, I think, an announcer the right to go off like this. But you do you, boo. If you want to be unprofessional and you want to do that on a broadcast, then go right ahead. Like I said, I'm sure there's people that loved it and thought it was hilarious, whereas I think that it's just a crummy move. You're a bozo, and that's what I think. But
you know what the craziest thing about it, Derek, is the Bush League D-backs beat the Giants that day 9-5.
They sure did. And guess what? They're going to do that during this season, so stay tuned. But one thing that you need to make sure is that you are fueled up with snacks like my delicious little Wrigley sour worms right here. If I go on a road trip, I'm buying multiple packs of these, and this is how I'm staying awake for the entire drive. And you can get wonderful snacks like this at our friends Circle K all over the valley. We are very excited to partner with our friends at Circle K to get your local best coffee, beer, and snack selection and premium gas over there. We are excited to kick off our partnership with our amazing friends over there that we are teaming up for an amazing giveaway opportunity. Text PHNX right there on your screen to 31310 for an opportunity to win a $500 gas card, which we know we all need. See show notes for details, but of course, get down on that. Sean in the comments says, Jesse, that color green looks great on you. Oh, what? I agree with you.
I'm
half. Anything about my shirt? What the hell?
I'm half Irish, so I look good in any shade of green. In my book.
All right, well, I don't like this.
What you're saying about that Circle K gas card does sound nice, because I'm pretty sure I'll have driven the entire Loop 101.
You did.
Today.
I drove over 100 miles.
I think I'm putting over 100 miles on my car just by going from my place to Surprise Stadium, driving on the 303, which is a highway that I should never have to drive on.
I tried to tell him.
And then coming downtown to the studio. So here we are.
Gabriel says, Circle K brand hot potato chips replace the hot Lay's shaped hole in my heart. Yes, they do. And honestly, their Wrigley sour worms are better than any name brand Wrigley sour worms you can get, and I will stand by that. Also, my favorite beer, Four Peaks. Grab yourself some Four Peaks. We have all sorts of wonderful stuff through the month of March to celebrate and to drink to, and you should do that with the wide variety of beers that our friends at Four Peaks have. Also, they got your Beer Week entertainment covered, so make sure to check out their calendar over at fourpeaks.com/events. And grab your tickets for Four Peaks' amazing spring beer dinner at fourpeaks.com/events. More information over there on that spring dinner as well. But trust me, the food at the 8th Street Pub is not to be slept on. It is not to be messed with. It is not to be second guessed. Everything is good. There's never been a single, this guy does not stray from the chicken tendies. When it comes to chicken tendies,
never.
He's the most loyal.
Although next time we're out at Four Peaks, I might have to experiment a little bit. I'm told they have other things on the menu other than chicken tendies. I'm not.
I
need to figure out if that's true or not, because I'm not sure.
They hand him the menu and he's just like, "I'm good, dog." Chicken tendies. But make sure check out our friends over at Four Peaks. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. Sean DePaz says, Derek, I don't compliment you for the same reason LeBron doesn't win MVP every year.
I don't like that comment.
I fucking get it though. I get it.
Gabriel is absolutely right. The gas did go up by like 40 cents overnight.
I don't understand how that happened.
I'm really regretting not filling up my tank 2 days ago, because I think it would have made a substantial difference.
It really would have. It really would have. But you know what we do on this show. Every day we worry about gas prices. Every week is Shark Week. Every day is Earth Day. And every Monday we go to the mailbag. Damon, let's go.
My mailbox. Always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox. And then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
All right, what do we got for questions? First question comes from our man, Gabriel. Gabriel asks, do you have any opening day traditions? Well, I don't know, Jesse. I feel like getting kissed on the street by a stranger is
let's not make that a tradition. That does not need to be.
I need a hot drunk woman to stop by and kiss me. My wife's already said it's okay. I will be out on the streets in front of Chase Field. I know opening day is on the road, but I'll just be out there. You know what I mean? I'll just be out there waiting.
That could only happen though if Seth Beer hits another walk-off home run on opening day.
That's another opening day tradition we have, is Seth Beer hitting walk-offs. That's what we got. We haven't been around very long. This is going to be our second opening day, so I don't know.
That's true.
We need to establish some new opening day traditions, so you guys can help us do that for sure. We are, by the way, going to be hanging out with our friends from Four Peaks. We are going to be broadcasting live from downtown Phoenix on opening day at Chase Field. So make sure to stop by, say hello, hugs. I have foam fingers to give away. We have all sorts of great stuff in store. So make sure that you stop by. But I don't know. What are we?
Yeah, I will say that when I was a teacher, my opening day tradition was trying to convince my boss that we should just let the kids not come to school that day. And hence let me not have to work that day.
Fucking brilliant.
It was great, but the tradition never really paid off. Unfortunately, my boss was not on board with that.
No, I imagine not. I used to have an opening day tradition of always trying to find the commemorative pin, which got harder and harder to find as time went on. First, it was very easy. Like you could just, I mean, I think even
what commemorative pin?
So they have a pin that they make for opening day, and they'll have both teams on it, and it's just usually sold on opening day, and you can only get it on opening day. So
I did not even know.
Yeah,
that.
so there was a time where I had every single one of these, and I like even if I wasn't going to the game, I would try to find my way down to the team shop and buy the opening day pin.
So I assume it would be like for the home opener.
Yeah,
so
for
like
the home
even if
opener,
the D-backs
correct.
opened on the road.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be the home opener, correct.
Huh.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And I
We'll
visit my brick.
We'll have to start. Some
I go polish my brick. The Derek won this brick for $25 in the ground over there.
Oh,
Derek paid $25 for this brick, is what it says. I go make sure it's clean. I check it out. Get a little toothbrush in there. Get the grout around it, and stuff like that. That's one of my opening day traditions. What else we got? Ball in wall Ben. I'm sure I know that Ben 0564 on Twitter. He says, "What's your hypothetical trade package for a Diamondbacks Ohtani deadline acquisition?"
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Ben's been enjoying our friends at OGs. I think. I don't know.
Can I talk about how absurd it would be for the
Yes.
Diamondbacks to actually
Please
do that?
do.
Like even if the Diamondbacks are on pace to win 100 games at the trade deadline, I'm not sure that you want to go trade for Shohei Ohtani because you're not just going to gut like your farm system depth. You very well might have to trade pieces off your major league team as well.
Yeah.
And even so, do you want to gut any part of your organization for half a season of Shohei Ohtani when he's about to become a free agent and you're going to have to pay $500 million or something ridiculous to bring him back? It's sort of a non-starter for me, Derek. I have a hard time entertaining even the thought of trading for Shohei Ohtani. Nobody's going to trade for Shohei Ohtani at the trade deadline. The price is just going to be entirely too high, and I don't think the Angels are going to want to do that anyway. Now I'm sure I'm going to eat my words now that I said that out loud.
Sean DePaz says, really, who is off limits? And so many people, Sean, are you kidding me? Who is off limits?
Like, you're not going to trade Corbin Carroll for half a season of Shohei Ohtani.
No.
Right?
I think there's only one player that's off limits for Shohei Ohtani.
Who?
Corbin Carroll. I would trade every single other person.
No.
I don't know.
You guys, it's not a fucking sign and trade. It is a half a season of Ohtani. You're all drunk. I need you guys to all fucking sober up. This is nonsense. No,
I mean,
there's
like,
so many people. 6 years of control of like Jordan Waller. Instead, no, we're going to get a half a season of Ohtani.
Yeah.
No, I will riot in the streets.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, what else we got? We're going. Ben, you did bad. We're upsetting you, Ben. Chris is trying to set me off tonight, Jesse. She says, "What is Luka?" Well, sometimes, Jesse, you got to give the people what they want.
Are we a Suns show again?
Yeah, would you allow me to? Excuse me. Let's see here. What is Luka? Luka is a whole ass hoe. You know what Luka is? A whole ass hoe. I hate Luka so much that I don't currently have anybody that like relates closely to how much as a fan I hate Luka. I hate Luka for all the right reasons and even some of the wrong ones. But I just hate Luka and that smug ass look on his face. Oh, yeah. But we actually have a question in regards to this that Jesse doesn't think is even slightly and something we can answer. But related, who is Luka to the D-backs?
Yeah, I don't know.
Meaning which player?
I just don't know who is the baseball equivalent of Luka Doncic for the Arizona Diamondbacks. There is no one like that, right? There's a lot of depth to the story with Luka because the Suns obviously probably should have taken Luka Doncic instead of taking DeAndre Ayton. And when I think about the past with the Diamondbacks, like, is there one player that was right there for them that they should have had that they passed on and then they like formed beef with later on? I don't know. I don't think that player exists. Am I wrong, Derek?
You are wrong.
Okay. All right. Enlighten me, please.
Jazz Chisholm.
Interesting.
Jazz Chisholm. Right? Who gets Zach Gallen fired up?
Okay.
Who's that guy?
All right. I don't hate it.
Right? He was a D-back. He was a D-back.
I don't think it's a great comparison, but it's a better
as,
comparison than I had in my mind.
It's as close as we can get. It's somebody who is an exciting player. That's the talk of the league, even if his stats don't quite stack up.
He's on the cover of MLB The Show, so clearly he's beloved in the public eye a little more than he should be, kind of like Luka Doncic, right? Yeah, I get it.
He has a connection to the team where he could have been part of our team.
It was a trade. It wasn't a draft, but pretty close.
But he was part of the D-backs, and he could have stayed here, but instead they opted to trade him for Zach Gallen, right? And that's that's pretty much it. Sean agrees with me. He said yes. He's the
Yeah,
answer.
I
was
think that
thinking
is- I
Dansby
think that is the
Swanson,
best
but I don't
answer.
hate Dansby Swanson.
No,
that
there's
same
no
way.
beef. There's no beef.
No,
with
there's no
Swanson.
beef with Dansby.
There is beef with Ryan Braun, but you don't have the part of the story like I don't think the D-backs were ever going to get Ryan Braun.
Right.
Manny Machado is kind of despised by a lot of fan bases, but I don't know if the D-backs necessarily have a huge beef with him.
Everybody
in particular.
everybody hates Manny Machado.
I guess the D-backs were rumored to be interested in trading for Manny Machado a few years ago,
true.
so there's like maybe some connection there, but
Not quite the connection.
You done pretty good, Derek. You done
right.
pretty good. I'm not
All
gonna lie. Jazz Chisholm is not a name that came to my mind, and I think that's a pretty darn good answer.
Luke is still a whole asshole. What else we got? Chris back again. This one comes from her son Aiden, and Aiden asks, how do you define sports movie? Example, Varsity Blues isn't a football movie because if the main character didn't play football, it would still be about the same movie versus movies like The Sandlot, Blindside, White Men Can't Jump, where the movie couldn't exist without the sport. I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot to that of what you just said.
Goes back to our debate about what makes a Christmas movie.
What
right?
makes a Christmas movie
is
Christmas
Die Hard
movie?
a Christmas movie or not? Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it really does come down to, I don't think there's a lot of movies where the sports aren't an integral part of the movie, but there are some where it's just kind of a background factor. You know, they're an athlete in some way, but
Sure.
not really. I think that he's spot on with his assessment there as far as like movies like Varsity Blues, where it could be any profession. But I don't know, Varsity Blues still feels very much like a football movie. I mean, there's some movies where it's more about the business and not the sport itself. One of my favorite movies of all time is Blue Chips, starring Nick Nolte, because it was such a good, because I was young when a lot of the, cheating, like paying athletes to be a part of college teams, and it was obviously it was a not allowed, and so like there was a lot of cheating scandal stuff that was explained in that movie that helped me like understand it. But also Shaquille O'Neal was just delightful in that movie, and I love him. It's probably his best performance besides Kazam, obviously. But Gabriel Ferris says Jerry Maguire. That's a perfect example. Yeah, Jerry Maguire. Sometimes I even forget about that being a sports movie. Like I don't think of that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, no.
It's a Tom Cruise movie where Tom Cruise is a sports agent and his client is a wide receiver on the Arizona Cardinals, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
All right. What else we got? Is there a chance Melancon just gets DFA'd? And this comes from our friend Jacob Giacomo, at Giacomo Jacob on Twitter. It will cost to do it, but would be worth avoiding the losses he might cause. Jacob, I'm kind of with you. I don't like that idea, and I don't like the idea of giving up, and I don't think that the Diamondbacks as an organization are going to give up on either of these guys this year when it comes to Bumgarner or Melancon.
Yeah.
Despite their performances, I don't think they're going to give up on a lot of guys on the team, despite the fact that obviously the guys with options that they can send down, that's a little bit different. But unfortunately, I think win, lose, or draw, these guys are going to be part of both the starting rotation and the bullpen. It just depends on how they're utilized and how Lovullo decides to go to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. I agree with you that the Diamondbacks are probably not going to move on from Mark Melancon, at least at this juncture. I just think it's too early for the team to commit to that. Whether or not they should is another question. I don't think they're going to do that, though. Torey Lovullo has already talked about Melancon after his first outing, which he very much struggled. He gave up 6 hits in his first outing. Torey said afterwards that he's not going to treat Melancon like a guy who's fighting for a spot on the team, basically implying that it is a foregone conclusion that Melancon is going to be part of this team. Now, we don't know what role that necessarily is. It doesn't sound like it's a back-end reliever necessarily. It could be in more of a mop-up capacity, but if you are using Mark Melancon in a mop-up capacity, eventually maybe you get to the point where it's like, yeah, maybe we'd rather have someone else step into that role. Like in some ways, by using Mark Melancon in a mop-up role, you've kind of already given in to the fact that he's just not going to be the player that you wanted him to be.
Right.
And you might just be willing to be like, okay, we have other guys that we want to get some innings for. Justin Martinez, Carlos Vargas, Corbin Martin, right? Some of the younger guys who you're a little bit more excited about as far as the future is concerned. Maybe you want to give those innings to those guys instead and see if they eventually develop into a role. Whether that happens anytime soon, though, I don't think I see it. I think it's probably going to be a while. I think the D-backs need to see Melancon in the regular season. And if he continues to struggle, I could see them moving on during the season.
It's just one of those things like making a mistake and then compounding it by not admitting that you made a mistake and continuing to go, you bought some device to trim, your bushes out front, but it's way more hassle than just a good old fashioned, pair of hedge clippers. But because you spent $300 on this device, you're going to use it.
Like you can't take it back.
Can't take it back. And you're going to use it now, right? Like there's things like that I understand the amount of money invested in these guys kind of requires you to utilize them. But we're not talking about, him and Justin Martinez are comparable, or Justin Martinez. They're comparable, right? I'm not like, it's not like it's just a little bit off. We're talking about Melancon right now being completely ineffective. And we're just talking about spring training games, like Jesse said, against Royals players that aren't even going to make the big league roster. It's not to knock them. It's more to knock Mark Melancon, obviously. But it's also to say, right, like if this is where he's at now, where is he going to be when he's facing major league hitting on a nightly, weekly basis during the regular season?
Yeah.
Hopefully he can get back on track before then. This is a great time to be bad, spring training, especially when you're not fighting for a job. You're really just trying to work stuff out and get yourself back on track. But it's concerning, and the most concerning part is the lack of their commitment, or not lack of commitment. The disturbing is their commitment to him based on the financial, finances that they're paying him. It just doesn't look like they're going to part ways with Melancon if he continues to be ineffective. It like just everything Jesse said sounds right. So basically, hopefully, the what we can hope for is that he gets back right, because that's really the only thing really that's going to, I think, turn this thing around. Regardless, he's going to be pitching. He's going to be coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I do have to say that part of me wonders if the Diamondbacks are going to speak publicly like Mark Melancon's role is not at all in question, and if there's just a smidge of possibility that it actually might be in question, and that maybe the team doesn't want to talk about that. They're not going to, go on the record talking about that at this point, which is understandable. But you have to believe it. I mean, if Mark Melancon continues to just be utterly ineffective in spring training like he's been, there has to be some level of poor performance where you're just like, we just can't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it looks like a mystery injured list stint at the beginning of the year where the D-backs can, try to work with him a little bit more. Maybe it's that instead of, just a straight up, you're not making the team. But I don't know, man. It's hard for me to believe that the D-backs don't have at least some willingness to reconsider when it comes to his role this year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I agree. Hopefully. What else we got? Last question comes from Ryan Hanley. Hanley writes, what is the best ballpark food at Chase Field? I know we've answered this before, but the season's right around the corner. So we want to help you guys out. We want to remind you of what the good food is. And the best place at Chase Field is Hungry Hill. That's the answer. Hungry Hill's meatball sandwiches, their brats, they're just everything they have there. It doesn't matter. The Italian beef, everything they have at Hungry Hill is delicious. There's 2 stands. I believe there's 2 stands on the main concourse level. And, honestly, there might be some better options this year. I wasn't thrilled with the options last year, I got to admit. There was a lot of the same, a lot of chicken tendies around the ballpark, which I know this guy's thrilled about. But,
Four Peaks chicken tendies, Derek.
Yeah,
there is a
there's
difference.
A 4 Peaks. There's all cold beers and cheeseburgers open now, and I actually had their hamburger with Saul not too long ago, and it was delightful. So that's a really good option too. But Salt River Fields also has some decent options as well. I know that there's the Island Noodles location is my personal favorite, but everything at Salt River Field seems like it's a bit expensive.
It's a little expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
Hence why I don't think I've consumed anything at Salt River Fields, at least not this year yet.
Sean Paz says Gonzo's chicken and waffles. The waffles are top class. I didn't know they sold waffles there still, to be honest. I thought they took them away after they changed it to be Gonzo's and removed the waffles. So see, even I don't know everything.
There's like a little Mexican food cart at Chase Field. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The name of it is eluding me, but that was very good.
Yeah.
I had that once or twice during the season, and I was pretty dang impressed.
The tortas at La Taranza are fantastic.
That's
too.
what it
like
is.
Up in the top corner, up in the upper deck. Those are amazing. And Gadzooks, the enchilada place.
Oh, wait, is that what I'm talking about?
Maybe. Is it the enchilada in the little thing? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Gadzooks
There we go.
was something I did not think was going to work. And I got to tip my cap to them because they've done everything. Like, they actually blew my mind with their presentation and how neat and edible they make enchiladas in a ballpark setting, which I thought were just going to be an absolute fucking mess, and they weren't. So I got to say I was wrong on that one. And they are definitely a great option. I like food options like that. I like the Versus hot dog. I like a lot of the stuff they've done. I think we need more of a variety. You know, that's one thing I think the ballpark could definitely use.
I think I had the Pirates Versus dog, and it wasn't really that great. It was just like an expensive hot dog with coleslaw and French fries on top.
Yeah, that's not good. Sean DePaz says Scoopwell's cookie dough and ice cream. Yeah, they're new and they are excellent as well. Definitely. All right. That's all we got for Mailbag Monday. We thank you guys so much for your Mailbag Monday questions. But you know what would be good at Chase Field? A spaghetti shack. That's what would be good.
Yeah.
ASU alum owned and operated in Tempe, Arizona. And they brought us some delicious spaghetti and meatballs that is actually Jesse and I had a wonderful Lady in the Tramp style dinner. We did not do the spaghetti thing because, you know, Jesse, he refuses to do stuff like that with me. But they do serve a menu starring spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, and a few other fan favorites. And their mission is to provide quality, affordable food as quickly as possible so that you can spend less time cooking and more time with your loved ones. So thank you to Spaghetti Shack for their wonderful food. And again, see, a Spaghetti Shack at Chase Field would kind of be fire because what I'm looking for is a variety, right? I like ballpark food, but Jesse and I are there a lot. 81 games is a lot of time to be at a place and eat.
I'd take some spaghetti in that joint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can do that. But the Spaghetti Shack is a community-focused to-go pasta concept started right here in Tempe, Arizona by 5 lifelong friends. We are currently serving Tempe and Queen Creek and hope to come to your neighborhood soon. So keep an eye out for the Spaghetti Shack. Big thank you to all of you guys for being here in the chat. Whoever gave us that thumbs down, I'm pretty sure it was Ben, and I'm sorry, Ben, if that helps you get rid of that thumbs down, because, you know, it affects Jesse's mental psyche. But thank you so many of you guys for being here. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live and any of our wonderful shows go live. Leave us a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. And also, if you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, we promise we won't forget about you guys over there. We love you guys too. Make sure to subscribe there if you haven't done so already. And leave us a review. We always appreciate the feedback. Big shout out to all of our Diehards out there. If you aren't a Diehard yet, grab yourself a Diehard membership over at gophnx.com. Get Jesse's wonderful article or newsletter, Full Count. You also get access to all of the writing from our writers over there at gophnx.com. You get a free piece of merch from phnxlocker.com, like that wonderful Kevin Durant Slim Valley Reaper shirt. And then there's that other shirt too. And also you get one of those merchandise. You get 20% off all future purchases as well. You get members only merch. You get members only discounts. So much stuff over there as being a member at gophnx.com. And also members only invites to some of our events. So sign up, that way you get some discounts with our partners as well. Jesse, Zach Greinke is still a menace.
He is, in the best way possible.
In the best possible way. He faced a man that was on the Los Angeles Dodgers who wasn't actually allowed to swing the bat.
Fractured pinky.
Pinky.
Yeah.
Why is he in the lineup?
He's in the lineup apparently because he wants to track pitches, like as part of kind of getting your timing down early in spring. It's still helpful to be in the box and, you know, be up there seeing different pitches that the pitchers will throw at you. Or in the case of when you're facing Zach Greinke, you just have a pitcher just trying to mess with you the whole time because he knows that you can't swing the bat. And Greinke did a phenomenal job of that the other day.
Not only did he do a phenomenal job of that, he didn't even give Miguel what he wanted. He didn't give him real pitches. He just threw pitches in the strike zone. He threw the ball into the strike zone. He didn't throw pitches. He just threw the ball into the strike zone. And it was quite hilarious. He missed it once, right?
Yeah,
but
he did throw a ball. He did throw a curve ball a little inside. But other than that, I think it was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that was just kind of right down the middle. Yeah. And then he just kind of lobbed something else up there. I'm not really sure what exactly it was.
He was just playing catch with the catcher at that point. It was pretty fantastic. But this does have a tie-in back to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Unfortunately,
because when we talk about competing for that final starting rotation spot, Ryan Nelson is one of the young pitchers who is currently competing for that spot. And Ryan Nelson faced Miguel Vargas. And we aren't sure 100% if Ryan Nelson knew Miguel Vargas was in this particular situation with a fractured pinky and inability to swing. But the results two at-bats was that Nelson walked Vargas both times.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Like, a guy can't swing the bat and you're still not throwing strikes. Like, that's not a great look. I still wonder, number one, did Ryan Nelson actually know that Miguel Vargas was in this situation? Which so. I don't know how they wouldn't have, because it was like floating around on Twitter.
Twitter knew. How do you not
Twitter
know?
knew. Yeah, I kind of feel like they would have. But number two, there's also the aspect of like, would it have even changed Ryan Nelson's process? Like, it's spring training, the games don't count, right? So like in a regular season game, of course, just throw 3 strikes, get him out. In a spring training game, as a pitcher, you're trying to work on some stuff. You're not necessarily just trying to like get everybody out as fast as you can. So maybe it wouldn't have changed anything. Maybe Ryan Nelson did know about it and was trying to locate some secondary pitches or whatnot, and it just didn't go his way. But it's still not a great look at the end of the day.
Sean DePaz is trying to make us feel better by saying everyone is walking Vargas, though. I don't care.
He's walked in at one point it was half. I think 4 of his first 8 plate appearances of the season.
What is going on?
Which I don't. Maybe you're just really nervous. Like when you know that a guy can't swing, it like kind of gets in your head a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that.
Oh man. Well, in other Nelson news, he was actually scheduled to come out of the bullpen, which didn't look very good for his chances as far as competing.
I wouldn't necessarily read into that too much, but
he's going to say that.
The plan on paper was to have Ryan Nelson pitch on back of Zach Gallen tomorrow. Zach Gallen's making his spring training debut on Tuesday. D-backs were scheduled to have Ryan Nelson pitch on back of that outing, but instead he'll pitch in a B game against the Texas Rangers back at Surprise Stadium. Thank God I don't have to drive out there for it. So we have another game in Scottsdale to cover, so I'll be over there.
I'll never go to Surprise ever again. But anyway, yeah, like
you don't even live that far from Surprise, Derek. Come on,
that's what's so frustrating about it. It's so close, but yet so far away. That's why I get so frustrated. We need a freeway that goes right to downtown Surprise is what we need, or right to the stadium. That'd be preferable. Like you said, Gallen is scheduled to go 3 innings, 45 pitches tomorrow.
Yep.
So great to see him out on the bump, and of course, Ryan Nelson now starting in that B game gives him, keeps people like me from speculating on if he's out of the competition or not. Whatever. I'll speculate all I want. It's his job.
It's a little early for anyone to be out of any competition at this point. But
you know what? It's also a little early for you to not have. Actually, it's late, I should say, for you to not have.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Your apartment decorated yet, or have your furniture purchased. But of course, Jesse needs all the help he can get, and the place he can get it is at morefurniture.com. They have a wonderful variety of furniture, some of the best you can get in the Valley for some of the biggest value you can get. And they also have their white glove delivery service where they will not only bring your furniture to your house, they will help you get that couch in the door without you needing to figure out how to do it. And they will set it up for you as well. So make sure to check out morefurniture.com. Save big on the best furniture in the Valley when you head to morefurniture.com. Also, shout out to our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, they make sports more fun. I already got my early Major League Baseball bets in. Can't wait for the regular season to start. Getting those bets in, and of course, all sorts of fun stuff to bet on when it comes to DraftKings. Same game parlays, all sorts of boosts and opportunities to opt in for more money when you win. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code PHNX if you're a new customer. You can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Well, that's all we got. Guys, tomorrow we have a staff meeting, so we will be out. I'm going to beat Jesse in some sort of trivia game on a game show type thing, so I've been looking forward to that.
We're not on the same team for that? Shouldn't we be on this? Somebody has to be on my team, and I feel really bad for whoever it is, because whatever kind of a game, I don't know what kind of a game show this is, but generally game shows probably don't tailor to my skill set very well, unless it's like a Wheel of Fortune game show. I'm pretty good with words
I mean, are you going to know pop culture references and phrases?
Pop culture references, no. But if you give me just like a general category and a puzzle to solve, I
swear to God, Saul Bookman, if you put me on the team as Jesse tomorrow, I will not. I just won't play. I will just fucking leave. Do you understand me? Anyway,
I'll just hide out at Salt River Field.
Yeah,
so you guys don't have to worry about me tomorrow.
Well, he really does want to be there more than anywhere else in the world. So make sure to follow him on Twitter for all updates on the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's at Jesse N. Friedman. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Our show is at PHNX_D-backs. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for being here and so much for your time. On behalf of Damon, Jesse, and myself, we always appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you're not a Bush League announcer.